right, so called to order at 7:04, and I just have to give a virtual meeting statement. So pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of open meeting law, general law, chapter 30A, subsection 18, and the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Hubbardston Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation by members of the public and or parties. Oh my goodness, will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found at www.hubbardstonma.us. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible. So with that being said, this meeting is being recorded. It's all yours.
All right, very good. As I always said, the meeting's being recorded, obviously. We have 3 board members tonight, which have been introduced. Who are the other people in the meeting tonight?
So we
Sandra.
have, Sandra, who is the applicant for the NOI, Sandra Gallant.
Yep.
We have Taryn here. Dan. Rhonda.
Is Dan related to you? Who is Rhonda and Dustin?
I know Dustin's another one of the members here on Burnshirt Road or on Williamsville.
I see.
No, I'm not related.
I think Rhonda is our neighbor up the road. This is Sandra Gallant.
Okay.
And I think Rhonda is our neighbor up the road. She and her, well, she had mentioned that they may like kind of listen in or whatever. And she
Rhonda and Hammer are butters,
right,
and they're listening.
Right,
in.
they are butters.
All right. Good. All right, I guess we'll start entertain. I would like to entertain a motion to open the public hearing for notice of intent. We'll have a public hearing pursuant to Mass General Law, section chapter 131, section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, for notice of intent filed by Sandra Gallant for construction of a single-family home at Crossroad map and parcel 2/120. All right, Sandra, if you would explain a little bit about what you're trying to do and why we're meeting tonight.
Well, I can't really say why we're meeting. I think that's kind of what you guys just have us do, or people do if they want to, build or do something on a piece of property. So what I'm actually trying to accomplish is I live down the road, and I bought the piece of land up the road because I'm trying to build a single family 1-story home on the property, and that is specifically being done for my parents. My parents are getting older. They are in there. They are hitting 80. They are in Florida, and they've been talking about coming back. And with all of this, I think they've gotten really scared, and so we are putting up the money to get something built up there. It is not anything huge. I have looked at some plans that with John Moulton, who is Moulton Realty, came with a very good reputation in Ashburnham for some nice single-story ranch homes. And that's kind of what we're looking to accomplish, to get that going for my parents and get it done, pretty efficiently. And Rich Stevens is pretty much the person that I've been in contact with, along with Mark Popham. And then Rich Stevens has kind of helped me recommend to me the people that he thought I should be working with to have things done kind of right, I guess, that he felt comfortable with. So that's the best that I can tell you. It's not like I go around building a home every day for my parents.
Yeah, that sounds good. I understand. Nice that you're thinking of them. Instead of trying to run away from them or something.
What is that?
I said instead of running away, you're trying to help them out. That's great.
Yeah, no, I just want to kind of have things work out well. Try not to be invasive, terribly invasive to neighbors. Trying to think of the neighbors on one side, which on the Hood side, the Hoods are on one side, the Hammonds are on the other side. Rhonda is, I think, listening. Just want to try and be careful, not invade people too much, and kind of get it built. And it's not going to be anything huge because, you know, the parents are a little older and they don't want to take care of a lot. The basic things that we were looking at was a 2-car garage with a ranch. So as opposed to being tall, it might be a little longer, but it's not going to be real wide. Everything we looked at seemed to be, according to Rich and according to John, would be about under 30 feet in width. I don't want to invade and get too close to backlands and all that stuff. And they seem to think that would fit fairly well and would be, you know, meet the requirements to be off the road. And it's pretty basic. Nothing real crazy or fancy. No McMansion here.
All right.
And we're not really in the neighborhood for that. Most of the houses in the neighborhood are, you know, they're single families. They're, you know, 3-bedroom homes. I don't know exactly what everybody owns, but you know, they're not huge.
Right.
It's a moderate neighborhood area, and hopefully my parents will live in it for a while. That's the goal.
All right. Well, we got a set of plans here. Thank you.
There was a nice write-up at the end of the NOI that kind of summarized the impacts to the wetlands. So it does look like everything's going to be outside of the 50-foot buffer zone, but the majority of the house is within the 100-foot buffer zone, which is what we have to approve. The septic is totally out of the 100-foot buffer zone. So they set up the lot so that the septic's farthest away from the wetlands. The well is right on the 50-foot buffer zone, and it looks like the house is between the 50 and the 100.
Right.
I guess I didn't want to interrupt because I don't know enough about it. The only thing I was told, you know, I know from being in Hubbardston for all these years, 75 feet is what you want off the road. If somebody feels they'd rather it be a little closer, I mean, I don't really care about that. My parents don't care. I just want to make people happy, not have anybody feel like we're overly invading property, land area that we shouldn't invade. So, you know, I'm open to any of that. If somebody would rather not, all the houses across the street are like, you're talking 40 feet off the road because they were built years ago. I would not like to be that close. But if you would rather me not be 75 feet, I don't have a problem. Somebody just needs to let us know so we can proceed forward. But I think all the septic plans that Mark Popham did were for us to be 75 feet off the road because he said, having done a lot of plans, you know, for Hubbardston, and Rich Stevens also said, working, you know, in Hubbardston, that it is preferred to be 75 feet. They're more concerned about that and the aesthetic, as long as you're not encroaching significantly on any kind of land that's considered wetland. So that's all.
Very good. I mean, to get it out of the 100-foot, you'd have to push it very close to the road, so that's not really going to help too much, probably.
Okay.
Who do you know? The wetlands, vegetated wetland limit line is and flagging. Who did that work?
Yeah, I have the. I actually sent all the paperwork. I'm sorry, there's so many. It's on my original paperwork. If you can give me a second, I can pull it up because it was all sent in, and it's not Mark Popham. He did the septic. Rich, no, Heckler did the perking with Rich Stevens, and then a fellow who does most of the work with Rich. Hold on, I have all my paperwork sitting here.
Is that it? All right.
Hold on, I
Now,
apologize.
you know, if
Who
Tony,
actually, yeah, who delineated, Zoc did hold on, I have it. And all that did get sent in. Just let me look for 1 second. I have all my paperwork sitting here. It is, Wetland Flags location and plans. That's Mark Popham. It's here. I sent copies to people too. Mark Popham, Wetland Flags and delineation location plan. Mark
I see.
Popham.
all right,
I have that. I'm just looking at what else, because I've made copies and tried to send anything in. Nobody from like outside of anywhere, you know, everybody is from
All local.
like all local that was
right.
recommended to
We-
me.
I don't-
and
right
you wanna
now,
have people
we
trustworthy.
haven't, I don't believe Tony's gone out to look at the site. Mallory, do you know if you talked to him last day or two?
Yeah, he went out a long time ago.
To this site?
I believe so. Yeah, it was a while ago.
Like weeks ago or months ago or?
Months.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did he get a report from him?
I usually don't.
October 2nd, 2020. It looks like everything's in pretty good shape here, as Kayla was mentioning. The only question, we have not gone out to look at the wetlands flags. Usually we go out and say, yeah, it looks reasonable, or if we have to wade through 3 feet of water to get to the flags, then we might have to discuss it further.
The,
you know?
the wetland flags are all there.
They're all blue.
They're all the blue flags are in there, and then Mark Popham actually went back in again to relook at them, and then the sight line and all the measurement for
Road frontage.
the
stormwater.
road frontage with the well, and all that is actually there.
So that's all flagged, like the house location, etc.
All that
The
was,
house location.
all that was
Trash, clearing.
all pre-flagged for all the wetland and everything was pre-flagged. And the house location is actually on the septic plan, on Mark Popham's plan. He actually located the house, the well, everything on that plan that was approved. And the signed copy was handed back to me by Mallory. She would know maybe a little more about that, but I have a signed septic plan approved as is.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I was just wondering if we went out to the site, if we would be able to see the flags, if everything's marked or not, the house location and the wetlands flags. That's all the question.
The blue flags are all there, but the house locations, I guess we were waiting to make sure you guys didn't make any kind of changes before I could actually decide what we're doing. Like everything's been waiting for this moment because I can't put on a house location if somebody tells me it needs to be a different distance according to septic, or the well needs to be moved. I don't know. That's what I was told. I'm new at this, so that's what Rich Stevens told me. He said, wait for you guys. They can flag, all the wetlands are flagged. The sight
Okay.
line is flagged
So-
for the septic.
Which
right,
other
sorry.
boards have already looked at it?
Yeah, the house location was originally looked at and is on the original the plan for the septic. But we didn't determine it definitely for anything. I haven't even approved trying to get a plan in because I'm waiting to see what it, like, I can't tell like Molten that, you know, I can have this size house put on if somebody tells me I need to change what the plan had suggested. So we've worked off what the original plan suggested, but I haven't like paid for anything yet because I can't do that if I don't know for sure, I guess.
Right, okay.
I'm a little confused myself.
I understand. You have a plan here that Mark Popham signed and everything, registered a professional engineer. It
Right.
shows the house location in
With the
septic,
house location, right?
in the well location and all that sort of thing. In the wetlands, that's all fine as far as I'm concerned. It looks fine. I just was asking if the wetland flags are out there so we could go out.
Yes,
We have not. Maybe Tony, I have to go talk to Tony, I guess, but maybe
Yeah,
Um,
I would think.
Tony has already approved the wetlands flags. I don't know, the drawing only says it's October 2nd of this year.
they're
So,
blue. The wetland flags are blue and they are
See 'em
there.
from the road.
You can see them from the road. They are there,
okay,
along with property line flags.
Corner markers.
Yeah, nothing, corner markers, nothing's been touched. And like I said, I just did not want
That's-
to have anybody measuring out any specific house stuff. There was a general idea Mark Popham put in where he thought it would be approved to go. But I didn't let anybody move forward with anything because I had, you know, I just wanted to wait until you guys
All right.
kind of said you thought it was all right.
very good. Does any of the board members have any comment, Rich or Kayla, on the drawing? Or questions or research we should do?
I agree that we should talk to Tony to make sure that the wetlands flags have been confirmed that they're correct. One thing I do see is that the silt fence does encroach through that 50-foot buffer zone. Do you see that on the plans? I wonder if we should make that follow the 50-foot buffer. I know it'll be pretty close to the edge of the house in the back. So I imagine they did that for ease of construction around the back, but.
Yeah, it sounds reasonable to do that.
Also, it looks like only a silt fence, not wattles or hay bales, based on the detail. So we might want to make a comment on that.
Right, the silt fence is no, I don't know the topography over there. It looks like, I don't know the topography, so I don't know if it
Doesn't look great.
requires something else. If a lot of water was running through that area or not. Rich, do you have any other questions or comments?
No.
So
I think
I,
that
oh,
things look all right. I
the
think,
runoff actually goes through the Hoods property. The Hoods who are abutters on the other side, they have some kind of a specific culvert, they said, that runs under their driveway. So it kind of went through their property, but they're, you know, but I mean, it is still considered wetland back there on the edge because there's some moss and, you know, the things like I myself have wetland where I live down the road.
We have a pond.
Because we have a pond that we allowed the town to put in, you know, so I'm used to kind of that. So there's moss and things like that you don't want to dig, you know, be messing with all that stuff. It's kind of nice, you know. It's good. It's good for the deer and the deer come through there and stuff. So along with this piece of property that I'm trying to put the house on comes another 4.5 acres that runs all up behind the whole road of Cross Road.
Parallel.
It's parallel, which
The other 3 lots.
connects to this piece of land. And so that is totally forever, as long as I can have anything to do with it, it will be untouched. It's 4.2 acres. So it came as part of this lot. It's a second lot behind it.
I see.
And that will always and forever hopefully be untouched, just like the extra lot that I have on the other side of me, where, you know, between on the pond side and everything like that and behind us has always been untouched since 1989, since I've lived here in town. So that's what we're hoping to accomplish, is protect some of the wetland, get the home, you know, get a reasonable sized one single family home on there and get the parents in there. So, you know, if you want silt fencing or hay, or like, to me, that's neither here nor there. It's just what you got to do to.
All right, that's fine. So
You
I
can say-
propose that we either placate ourselves with talking to Tony or go out for a site walk this week. Are you available? Do you want to have any interest in going out with Tony and I to look at the site, say on Thursday morning?
Is
Or
is
Friday
that
morning.
me?
Yes.
You're talking, oh, okay. I didn't know if, like me, I don't know, what am I going to say? Sure,
Well, you just-
I mean,
We want to offer you the opportunity to walk out there with us.
yeah, sure, I'll walk out there with you. I mean, I
No
don't,
poison ivy.
yeah, no poison ivy anyways.
I think it's gonna be fair weather for the next couple of days, so I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm not worried about.
Like Friday, like Thursday morning would be good. I'll talk to Tony and we can take a quick run out there at a convenient time for you.
Give me a call, let me know. And do you want my number?
Sure. 9 o'clock
9,
Thursday.
huh?
9 on Thursday. Would sound all
9
right?
on, you want me to put it on my calendar then?
Yeah, I'll confirm that tomorrow.
Okay,
Since
I
these
will.
meetings are posted publicly, if you don't want to verbally state your phone number, you could email it to me.
Oh,
Yeah, Sandra, I'll email it over to Rick for you.
All right, so we will just verify. You know, personally, I have no problem with the plan that's presented. It's, you know,
Do you-
you're
you think it
you're
looks like a
restricted in
good-
size and stuff,
Okay.
and the way the lot is shown, shaped. Obviously, you have to stay up near the road. I think it'll work. If the board has no other questions, is there any public comment from any visitors tonight? All right, if there's no more information, I entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Make a
Make
motion.
a motion.
so to
I'll second.
reconfirm, you said, what time on Thursday?
9 o'clock. We have first, second, so we will vote that we'll close the hearing. All in favor? Aye. I think I've lost you guys, maybe.
No, you're still there.
Okay,
No, I just was,
I'm not on the video apparently anymore, but,
no, I see you.
We can see.
okay, good. That's fine. I must have pressed the button somewhere along the line. We will, so what we'll do, if it's appropriate, Mallory, is we'll visit out there and we will say we're in agreement, or we would recommend something, some additional order conditions to include hay bales or something, probably unlikely in this case. Is that appropriate here, Mallory?
Sure.
Okay, so I would say we close the hearing. We make well, the order of conditions then would be to use hay bale, use the silt fence as shown on the drawing. Stack all the construction materials away from the silt fence and away from the wetlands when you're doing construction. Anything else you want to add, Kayla or Rich?
I think so.
Okay, and we'll comment on if there's anything additional. Otherwise, I would if those are the order conditions, then I'll make a motion to approve the order conditions and vote to approve the project with the exception of any follow-up comments that will be made on Thursday.
I think
So
that's
I make a
reasonable.
motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, anything administrative on that, Mallory?
Not that I can think of right now, no.
Okay. So Sandra will get some letter from us eventually in the next week or so.
Yeah, after you do your site walk to make sure that nothing needs to be added on, any additional comment, then I'll get the order of conditions out. I'll send it over DocuSign like we did last time, so you guys can sign it.
Very good. And then those order conditions that have to be
Recorded.
at the courthouse, I believe.
Yep, registry of deeds.
Registry of Deeds.
And I'll go over those instructions with you, Sandra, when it's time.
Okay. Thank you, Mallory.
You're welcome.
Mallory needs a pay raise.
Jeez.
She's helped a very well, uneducated person as far as this goes. I could be helpful in other ways, but not this.
My pleasure.
We will. I'll see you on Thursday at 9 o'clock at the site, unless something comes up and you can send me a text or call me, and I will do the same.
All right.
So
and I'll
if
get-
something comes, well, okay, if something comes up, Mallory has my number or whatever, or somebody will,
I'll make sure. Yeah, I'll make sure everyone has it.
okay,
Okay.
and you can call me. I will plan on being there. Thank you.
Very good. Talk to you later. Thank you.
All
Have a
right,
good-
bye-bye.
All right, the next order of business is to review the minutes from 11/17.
Yep, I had one comment just to change the motion for that. I wanted to say Crossroads, but that's not what it was.
Hill Road.
Hill Road, yes. For that Hill Road property, just to say that we approved the negative determination. Request for negative determination
Okay, good.
instead of accepting the plan.
Good.
I'll update that for next meeting and we can review them all then.
I was thinking we definitely just had a Concom meeting. It can't be another month has gone by, but I see it's only 2 weeks.
Yeah, we had to push it out because of voting.
I know time is going by fast, but I was hoping it hadn't. got up
Missed
that-
a whole month.
All right, so any other comments on the minutes? I make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Nope.
Outside of
Nope.
comment, Kayla.
Rick, I'm gonna update them to reflect the comment change and then we can vote on the next meeting.
Okay, very good.
I was struggling with the words for that one.
Thank you. Now we have new business, Terra Long, Bluesville Road, a failing dam.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Good.
Good. Yeah, thanks for having me on tonight. So we have Williamsville Pond Dam is down off of Burnshirt Road down. Well, I don't know whether it's the south end of Hubbardston or the north end. I'm not actually sure, but You guys probably know where the pond is, I'm guessing.
Right.
So we've kind of been going back and forth for the last couple of years trying to figure out as residents what to do about the dam. Obviously a lot of water is low this year anyways than last year. I think it was beginning of last year though, somebody came and started taking the dam apart and took a couple of feet off the top of it. And that dropped the level of the lake pretty significantly. And I know some of the residents, including us, we actually, a couple of our shallow wells started drying up last year. And that's kind of where I started to get involved a little bit, being concerned about not having drinking water. As I started talking with some of the other neighbors, I know Dustin had been in contact with Donnie Berthian, and trying to figure out what's going on. He kind of did some preliminary work in the beginning and also found out that Williamsville Pond is one of our certified fire ponds. And we've got a dry hydrant on the pond. So that was another concern as the dam was being taken apart, that we're losing drinking water, we're also losing fire safety. And we thought we were progressing pretty well on things with the state rep, Donnie, and kind of hit a wall and just trying to figure out what do we need to do to get it repaired. I know previously, going back maybe 15 or 20 years, talking to some of the other residents, the residents had taken on funding the repair of the dam. And then sounded like ownership of the dam was turned over to somebody else. After a whole bunch of phone calls and talking with a lot of different people and emails, kind of got to the bottom that Fish and Game owns that dam. And so I've had several emails back and forth with Fish and Game, invited Ryan into the conversation to kind of help give some input and help us figure out how we could push things along. I know Donnie was trying to push things along. Finally had a really good conversation with a gentleman over at Fish and Game who sounds like he's the one who is point person in this area or for this dam. His name is Todd. He kind of took a couple of weeks to get back to me after talking to the commissioner and some of the higher ups. And my understanding from talking to him is Fish and Game's kind of entire objective in the state is economic restoration. So they want to have everything go back as if mankind never existed, which obviously a dam was put up by mankind. So their long-term plan is to remove the dam entirely, and they want to see the pond just turned back into a stream. Obviously, that creates a lot of issues, fire safety, drinking water, property values, all of the above, even the recreational side, conservation. We've got beavers living on the dam, totally upsets a whole bunch of things. So after kind of going back and forth with him, he said they had Ty and Bond come in and some engineers look at the project. Sounds like it was a number of years ago, and they were quoting them anywhere between $800,000 and $1 million to repair the dam, which sounds a little absurd to me, but I'm not an engineer. And about $300,000 to tear the dam out. So both from their mission of economic restoration as well as the financial perspective, that's kind of where they're at. At the kind of end of the conversation, he shared that, obviously he knows not everybody's in agreement with the pond being destroyed and losing the pond and taking the dam out. Fish and Game is willing to turn over ownership of the dam to another party. And so basically kind of get their hands out of it. He said because it's a state-owned property, they cannot transfer ownership to a private party, but they are willing to transfer ownership to the town of Hubbardston and specifically the Conservation Commission. So that's kind of where all of that was left. Kind of where my thoughts are going, and after talking to Ryan a little bit, just getting his input as the town admin, is, the town doesn't really need one more problem and one more, big expense to go after. One of the thoughts, and I think this is what happened with Eagle Lake up in Holden, although I haven't done a ton of research on it yet, was for the town to take ownership of the dam, and then the residents around the lake to form a trust that the town could then turn ownership of the dam over to that trust. And then it would kind of put it back in the hands of the residents to continue to maintain the dam after it's repaired. So that's kind of where it stands at this point. And just kind of coming to you guys to get your thoughts on that and see if that would even be something that you guys would be open to, or if there's other things that you guys know that I don't know.
Wow, what a mess, huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and I tried to push back even on the fire safety thing and saying, it's a certified fire pond. Dustin had met with the fire chief in town and found the paperwork on that. And apparently, Todd over at Fish and Game, he said, well, don't push on that too much because they put it on our property and never got it officially approved. So he kind of was like pushing back and saying, just basically, you guys should take ownership of this so it doesn't open up an issue. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So
right. Wow. Interesting. I wonder how bad this thing is anyway, or if it'd be good for another 100 years.
It's
gonna kick the can down the road for a few years, I can see.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that from looking at it myself, again, I'm not an engineer. I've planned a lot of projects and overseen a lot of projects. I've got a GC that works for me, and I actually had him go down and look at it with me. I mean, I think we could repair it pretty easily. I mean, even if it's just the same style, it would be a couple $1,000s, of what was there before. It was really just, it was fencing pipe with some fitted together boards, some tongue. And that's been there for the last 20 years until they started taking it down.
Is it leaking? Can you see?
It's not leaking right now, but again, it's 2 or 3 feet lower than it probably should be. And we had kind of come up with some plans, a couple of the residents to say, what if we got some 8x8 timbers and we really tried to shore it up and do more than what was there previously. And I think, even for $5,000 to $10,000, I think we could come up with something that would last another 50 years. But obviously it's owned by Fish and Game. So our hands are kind of tied on what we can do, without approvals and ownership.
Hey, Rick, this is Dan Galante. When you have a minute, I actually would like to comment on this whenever you get a chance.
Sure, Dan. I think it's probably a good time now.
Okay, thanks. Hey, this is Dan Galante. I'm actually not really on. I'm chair of the Board of Selectmen, but I'm not really here for that. I saw it on the agenda. So I do dam repairs. That's in normal life. That's not predominantly probably what my contracting firm does, and have worked many times over the years for the Department of Fisheries and Wildlife doing dam repairs and removals in central Massachusetts. And back in 2014, 2015, Bill Davis, who was probably the predecessor, Taryn, of Todd. I don't know Todd, but my guess is Bill Davis, who used to be the district administrator in this area, actually asked me to go down there and give my sort of 2 cents on, the water was really high at the time and it was really stressing the dam, and he just wanted some preliminary pricing on what I thought it was going to take to fix it, or whether we could notch it down, or just basically just sort of brainstorming piece of it. So I do have a pretty significant knowledge of the actual structure itself, and I guess my real contribution here is, and trust me, I understand the plight. I see it with dam owners all the time, and the biggest factor of this all isn't really the town of Hubbardston, isn't really the residents, isn't really the Department of Fisheries and Wildlife. It's the Massachusetts Department of Dam Safety. So they require very, very stringent on what you can and can't do for even just dam improvements or maintenance or whatnot, because that has to be done via a permit, who that would have to be filed by the applicant, which is the owner, which would be the Department of Fisheries and Wildlife. So that's the real sticking point that, I know Donnie, and I think even Ann Goby was involved in some of this as well, to try to get to a point where we could figure out how to do something that didn't trigger all this paperwork that was going to be very difficult to generate, because to generate the paperwork to get the appropriate permits, it was going to cost a lot of money, not just to generate that paperwork, but to perform repairs in accordance with Office of Dam Safety regulations. So I know that was kind of a lot of information there, but I've been thinking about this dam for a long time and understand your plight here. I just basically wanted to say that, I'm aware of it as well, and have been thinking a long time of how to help. So I just wanted to say a few things there, Rick.
All right, well, that was very concise. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Dan. Yeah, and definitely, whatever input you have as well, I'd love to connect, as we continue to move forward on this and figure out what might be able to be done. So
Rick, Dustin in the audience has his hand up, so I don't know if he wants to go ahead and speak.
Sure. Dustin, go ahead.
Hi guys, thanks. So my name's Dustin Booker. I actually live on the pond, and was made aware of the issues with the dam as my moving truck was leaving the driveway. We had just moved in 2018, and was informed by a couple of the neighbors, what was going on. And ironically, it wasn't disclosed when we bought the home. But just to kind of clarify, and Dan could probably speak more to this, since he's, this is what he does for a living. But the dam itself is consists of the concrete embankments and then the cribbing. And what really is in need of repair is the flashboards that kind of maintain the water level. So I think, with that price, that sticker price of, $800,000 to $1 million, I don't know who quoted that, but that was kind of to replace the entire structure. Now I've had a lot of people, I'm in construction as well. I've had friends of mine look at it too, and they seem to think that the structure itself is intact, and that it's basically just a kind of a repair job, involving the flashboards to maintain the height. So that was kind of where I just wanted to just clarify some stuff about, we're talking about the dam as a whole versus what we call the dam, which I think is these boards, and just to kind of maintain the water level.
Okay, good. Yeah, interesting. I don't know what we would expect to do at this meeting or whatever. What direction should we be taking?
yeah, I guess it would be whether you guys would even be open to taking ownership of the dam, and that could be contingent on taking ownership and then handing it off to a trust of the residents, or just taking ownership and then we figure out what needs to happen with it. But I think that would be the first step. Is my understanding is, if Fish and Game maintains ownership of it, it will return to a stream. And they're kind of giving us an out to say they're willing to hand off ownership. And I kind of feel like that's the first step, is would the town take ownership of it? Not necessarily even committing to a repair yet, but would the town be willing to take ownership of it as a first step?
I think Rich Clapham lives the closest to the dam, and maybe we should give it to him.
I don't want it. I have enough headaches.
I'll bring down 10 bags of Sacrate, and we'll get after it someday and fix it up. Yeah.
I know Chris Thurlow was in charge of rebuilding that the last time. And Curtis Lumber was still in business then. And they sawed up all the stuff because I remember Chris talking about it. They sawed up everything and donated all the material and labor. But I don't know, from the sounds of it, that they won't let you do that now. So,
Yeah.
and the cost wise is because it's prevailing wage on jobs. Because I've done the Phillipston, Queen Lake cutting, and I've done the Gardner one over by Jandris, and I did cutting over there, and I had to pay my guys $56 an hour just to run the chainsaw.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
And I
amazing.
think it's something we could be creative with. You know, once we have it out of fishing games hand, I think that opens up a lot of, you know, I think we just got to figure out from there, you know, do we turn it over to a trust? Can we get any grants on it? You know, I've got a grant writer that I'm connected with. You know, could we get any grants written and maybe get a grant to cover some of that? You know, I have reached out to a buddy of mine that's a lawyer. He handles foundations and trusts, and just said, what would it even take to get something like that open, and what are the legalities of taking ownership of it? But I think once the town has ownership of it, it gives us, you know, doesn't mean we have to all of a sudden, you know, rush forward. It opens up a lot of options, I feel like.
Well, yeah. The fact that the dam, the water level, the acre feet have gone way down because of the water level. Is that something that's tenable to the occupants or the people who live on the lake? Or you really trying to get the lake back up to the full height, right?
We would like to get it up higher. I mean, even just from a drinking water standpoint, you know, it's got to be higher than it is right now for our shallow wells to not dry up. Like I said, last year we actually had 2 of our wells dried up and we had no drinking water. And then also the fire safety side. The last time I looked at the dam, it was a little bit lower than it is right now because we weren't quite at peak. But we weren't even over the bottom of the dry hydrant for fire safety. So I think it's got to be higher and to be able to have that dry hydrant be pulling enough water as well if it comes to a fire safety issue.
Dan, do you think there's any interest in the town of taking this dam over?
I mean, in a word, no, but I want to caveat that a little bit. So there are a number of programs. One of them is called the Dams and Seawall Grant Program that can either be a straight up grant or a low cost loan. So that can either be through municipalities or state agencies or for you know, private homeowners or trusts that a lot of dams repairs are funded through. So I guess the only way I could see the town wanting to be part of this is if the town were part of a group or however that would work to be able to obtain a grant, probably along with the state, to perform repairs that were in accordance with the Office of Dam Safety regulations that would effectively make, you know, 100 years worth of repairs. And I'm not even, doesn't have to be 800,000 to $1 million. There's still a lot of work that could be done to bring it into compliance with the state regulations, then that might be the only way. And I actually thought that Ann Goby and Donnie were looking into maybe using that program or a similar one from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which can also fund that sort of thing, to be able to fund it, to get it so that it's paid for by those groups. So other than that, you know, you guys already joked about it, and that's just the reality is once you own it, you're on the hook for everything that's got to be done for it. So it's a tricky situation.
Right.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that I think the residents, at least, you know, myself, I know talking to Dustin, talking to some of the other residents that are down this way, we're willing to help fund or figure out how to fund it. I mean, obviously, you know, $1 million is very different than $10,000. But, you know, if all of a sudden it goes away, we're looking at, you know, 3 to 5 wells that we all have to redig and whatever the price tag is on that. So, you know, fixing the dam versus digging new wells, you know, is also part of what we're trying to figure out, you know.
Right. You have property value to think of too, and all obviously.
Well, the best way to do that, sorry, if I could just add one more thing, Rick.
Yes.
Okay, Terrence, so the best way to do that is to retain an engineer. So I already heard the name Ty and Bond, who I know all the guys who have worked on, because that's who I've worked with Department of Fisheries and Wildlife. They kind of have the contract in Central Mass, and we've worked with them. But they're the ones specifically who will say, again, it's going to cost 10 grand for them to go through an evaluation, or, you know, 8 grand, so some amount of money that's not insignificant by any means, to be able to present all the options, which, you know, may not yield a solution, and it is expenditure of money that may not yield an actual solution, but they'd be the ones who live the business and who know every regulation that could get done. So typically that's what homeowners and dam owners, whether they're private or public, do, is retain somebody like that to be able to give all the decisions and put them on the table. That's it.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Is that something that you guys would like to see happen before looking at taking ownership of the dam, or is that something that we would do after taking ownership and then deciding which way we would want to go with it?
That would definitely be before.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that gives us our next step then.
God, there's a step from this. This is excellent. I was gonna say, I
love
don't.
action items, so if I know what I need to do, I'll go after it. So
Rich doesn't want to take it over, so then this is a good step then.
No, I don't want to be the damn man.
It seems like one of those things that, oh boy, could be simple, but today it won't be simple. 50 years ago it would have been very simple. Okay, knock something off next month, or in the springtime, and fix it up, and everybody would be happy. But nothing simple these days, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not like we can just do a barn raising or a dam raising and get a bunch of us together and
right.
Things on there. But I guess my only, and I will definitely look into retaining an engineer and next steps on that. I guess my only concern would be, is Fish and Game going to potentially flip flop? And are they going to end up, right now they're willing to turn over ownership? Are they going to, in 2 months say, well, now we really don't want to, or, are they going to continue to move forward over, whatever next period of time to continue to dismantle the dam, which is then going to cause further issues.
Well, I don't know.
Of a time crunch, at least for what I'm feeling, to say we need to make sure we have drinking water and we need to make sure we have fire safety.
Right, but who could say for sure? But I'm sure they only have another 100 potential issues they could deal with otherwise. Including some very high rent districts and why would they want to set themselves up for lawsuits by all the owners of all the property who suddenly their property value drops in half because there's no water out there anymore and stuff like that. So I think they'd run away from it if they had an option. But that's just, what do I know?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think if I send Todd an email and just kind of give him an update and say, this is the next step that we're taking. We're looking to retain an engineer, and we're exploring all of it. Hopefully they would hold off with moving forward on anything else.
Yeah, because that river's got a bunch of issues anyways, because you got the road over in Templeton that goes behind Henshaw's. That's closed because of that. And then you got over on 101, they got that down to 1 lane. And that's kind of like a dam they got up over there too. They're supposed to be working on sometime.
Yeah, I'm sure that the statistics on the dams that are out there is pretty mind-boggling. How many there are and how many need repair. They all need repair, except for the Hoover Dam, probably.
Right.
Like all.
I think Dan should take it over. I think Dan should take it over because he said he works on those things. We
Dan
can
knows
call
what
it
to
the
do.
Monte.
All right. I'll give you my wife's phone number real quick, and you can give Tara a call and you can ask her if that's okay.
Well, name it after her then.
All right, but hey, I'm gonna lose you guys. But Taryn, if you want to reach out to me, my email is on the town website. If you want to reach out for any consultation here, but I gotta take off, guys. But have a good night.
I really appreciate it. Thank you, Dan.
Hey, thanks, Dan.
All right, I guess we're done with this topic for now.
I think
Dustin,
that gives a good next step, and I really appreciate you guys entertaining the discussion.
all right, it's good. Very interesting.
It is interesting. Yeah, it'd be interesting to know what the liabilities are associated with taking it over.
Yeah, I'll try to get some more information for you guys, and then when I have more, I'll update you.
Good. Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna sign off. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Darren.
Any other business for the board tonight, Mallory?
Nope. I sent Tony a couple of sidewalk requests. He said he was gonna get to him this week, so maybe when you hook up with them, you can just kind of check on those and see how those are going.
Yes, I will do that. I meant to call him
No worries.
today, but I didn't get to it. So,
That works.
all right, thank you. Entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion.
I'll
Second.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.